foremost, welcome to everybody, and thank you so much for giving us the time today to reintroduce, I suppose, Destination TEFL as a team and the company that we are now. I think that we can all agree that the past 2 years has been an absolute terror, a horror. It's probably a scary movie all in one. But we are really, really positive that things are changing. We definitely are seeing that a lot of countries are opening up more. The travel restrictions are becoming a little bit easier, in terms of all the quarantines and everything that's happening. Currently in Cambodia, things are still the same in terms of the quarantine period of 2 weeks. However, the biggest excitement is that Bali got it down now that it's only the 8 days and that all the visas are being issued. And then obviously now with Thailand, where the quarantine period has gone down now to the 7 days for fully vaccinated people. I think that maybe this is a golden opportunity to just really talk about vaccines as well. On our side as a company, we can't force anybody to really take a vaccine. However, I'm sure that you who are in the travel industry can see that, it is definitely going to become a requirement. It just makes life a little bit easier. So in a sense, without actually saying it, I think that we all kind of need to agree that, to participate in any of the programs, ideally, any person would need to be vaccinated to get to come into any of our destinations, for that matter. So I think that if you have anybody on your books that are currently still, and eyeing about whether they want to go, maybe start reaching out to them and kind of just put it in their minds that they possibly have to get a vaccine as quickly as possible. All right. So this presentation will give you all of the information, I hope, for you to be able to make a decision about our training center and our teaching destinations, and for you to make informed decisions to help the people that you have to deal with when you want to come over on any of our programs as such. So first and foremost, our company has been going for, we've been in business for over 10 years. Yesterday, I actually spoke to Roseanne. I said, do you know that in August 2011 is when you originally started the business? And it's unbelievable that for 10 years, the business has been going and has been growing amazingly. We're super proud of our ratings that we have. We've got a 98% rating on Go Overseas. Go Overseas, again, is a completely independent company where our participants on our courses can go and do a review for us. Then also on Go Abroad, we've got 9.6, I suppose it's 96%. We've just been verified as well. We've also had all of these nominations, the Innovative TEFL for 2020, as well as the crisis response for 2021 when COVID kind of hit. So I think it's just great to be recognized as a company and a player in the market as such. We've got 3 global training centers, and let me quickly take you through our journey of where we came from. So as I said earlier, in August 2011 is when Roseanne opened the first TEFL school or training center. At that time, it was called Samui TEFL in Koh Samui. In 2013, Catherine joined the team, and that's where our curriculum was starting to be built. And obviously, it's a constant building and changing of the curriculum, and that's kind of her responsibility. And 2016, started working with various gap year agencies, and then in 2018, we started with our course placement package, which was the one where we had our trainees train in at our Thailand training center, and then have the option for them to go come and teach in Cambodia itself. Then in 2019 is when I joined the team, and that's at that point we decided to rebrand Samui TEFL to Destination TEFL, and the main idea was why choosing Destination TEFL is that we wanted to open more destinations where you can go and do your TEFL qualification. And where we are now, we've got 3 destinations, which is pretty awesome. In 2020, as the whole pandemic happened, that's when we opened Destination SimRip. In April, we started our virtual course, and I'm so thankful for our team that everybody was able to really adapt very quickly. In June, we launched Bali, but Bali didn't open until May, actually, in 2021, is when Bali had their first course. So super well done for Matt on that. In August this year, we launched Bangkok. And it was really just, I want to say, it's almost like a reopening of our training center in Thailand. Obviously, it's not on the coast. I think with Bali, we have our coastal training center, which is great for your surfers and stuff. But so in August, we launched it. And then in November will be the first course that we will do at our Bangkok course center. And we're super excited to see that happening on that side. So our 3 destinations that we have, so we've got Siem Reap, Cambodia. It's a land where ancient and modern worlds collide to create a unique destination. It's truly, with me living here, it is an absolutely beautiful town. And I do believe that all of your clients and everybody who do decide to come over to Siem Reap will have an absolutely amazing time. Then we have Bali. Obviously, it's a world famous island, and it's an amazing surf scene. So definitely for the guys who are into surfing and stuff, a really cool destination to send your clients to. And then obviously Bangkok, which is the capital of Thailand, which is it's a city that never sleeps. And we'll get our everybody to kind of talk about it in just a short little while when we get there. We have 4 program options per destination. The first one, and it's maybe something that nobody really ever think about, is just a basic TEFL. Now, what is the basic TEFL? Now, the basic TEFL, I would say, is for somebody who really just want to get a TEFL qualification. They might have a bit of a gap. They might have like an extended holiday, want to go and do something meaningful rather than just going on a holiday. So definitely a great option for those who really just want to come over or go to any of our destinations just to get a TEFL qualification, to possibly go back home again to start teaching online, or it could be that it is an additional credit for something that they study at any tertiary institution, and that will definitely help. Then we have our TEFL with the placement assistance in country. So that means that wherever you come to, so whether you come to Siem Reap or whether you go to Bangkok or whether you go to Bali, you will get your placement within that country. So obviously, if you're coming to Siem Reap, your placement will happen in Cambodia. If you're going to go to Bangkok, your placement will happen within Thailand, and then obviously Bali within Indonesia itself. It is super important just to remember that just because the course is done in a city or a certain destination doesn't mean that's where the placement will be. So just because the course is done here in Siem Reap doesn't mean the placement will happen in Siem Reap. We find that everybody kind of falls in love with the place where they do their training and then kind of want to stay where they are. So I really want you to really think about the fact that, Siem Reap is not the whole of Cambodia. Cambodia is massive. Bangkok is not the whole of Thailand. Bangkok is massive. And the same for Bali. Indonesia is a big country. And there's lots of positions and placements available all over the country. Then we obviously have our TEFL with placement in other Southeast Asian countries. So, for instance, where you would come and do your course, I'm going to keep using Siem Reap as the example. So you would come and do your course here in Siem Reap and then choose to then go and get a placement in either Thailand, Vietnam, or Indonesia. Obviously, every country has got its own minimum requirements. So as we all know, that Cambodia is the only country in Southeast Asia where you can actually get a placement if you don't have a degree. It's really just in terms of the visa. It's to be legal in the country. Unfortunately, in Thailand, Vietnam, as well as in Indonesia, to get your legal paperwork to be able to work there full time, you do need to have a degree. It doesn't stop anybody from actually staying in the country and not finding a job at a school to possibly do like the nomad thing to kind of teach online. So that is possible, but it really just becomes a problem in terms of the legality of somebody actually staying in country. We don't want anybody to keep on looking over your shoulder and worried at what point immigration is going to come and knock on the door. I don't think it's worth it at all. And then obviously we also have our TEFL extension program, which is the practical teaching in Southeast Asia. So what the TEFL extension program is, we realized that, well, especially during this whole COVID situation, is that a lot of people have decided to sign up and start doing a TEFL qualification, started doing online TEFL qualifications because that could possibly generate some sort of income for them. Now, we realized that that people would be doing online TEFL qualifications. If the TEFL qualification that they did online was something, of a good standard, and if it kind of met all the minimum standards of what a TEFL qualification should be, we are willing to look at their application and assess them based on a pre-assessment that they would do. Now, the pre-assessment is super easy. They would need to do a lesson plan. We send you the format of the lesson plan. We give you the subject. They need to develop the lesson plan and then also send a short video, like a 5 to 10 minute video of actually delivering the lesson. Based on that criteria, our team would be able to assess the whole application and then either accept or most probably accept, and most probably always accept an applicant then to come and do the TEFL extension program. The TEFL extension program, however, is not a recap of anything that happened before the practical side of the course. Maybe a little bit in terms of our structure, of what we expect from our teachers. But a person who comes and do the TEFL extension needs to know what it is and what they have signed up and understand the TEFL as a whole, I suppose. The TEFL extension program is kind of like your practical side of the course. So that's kind of where we kind of get to test all of our teachers to see what skills they have, where we can help them. And also, as from the start to the end, we always celebrate all the mistakes. It's the golden opportunity to kind of get in front of a classroom and practice the skills that they have. And as long as we can see growth, from the first time that they do their practical until the last one that they had, will be satisfied and most likely will actually earn their TEFL qualification. We are quite a big team. We've got 11 team members and counting, and it will keep on counting. I haven't added any of the other additional team members of our training centers. But our team are really super dedicated to kind of take everybody that signs up for the program, to take them through every single process. From the start when they sign up for the program, getting visas, pre-departure, when they arrive in the country, orientation, getting onto the course, going into the practicas, and then after that, helping them with the placement assistance. So it is really quite a long process, and it's a great relationship that we build with everybody that comes onto the course, and we are always here to support within the program parameters, I would say. So the executive team, you all have met us or know us. So first and foremost, we've got Roseanne, who was obviously is co-owner and founder. She's the director of admissions, and she's also the key accounts manager. So every single applicant that would be coming would go through Roseanne, and Roseanne is the contact person for that applicant. before they actually arrive at any of our destinations. Then we've got Catherine. She is also co-owner and the academic director. So Catherine's responsibility is really to help develop the course, if anything change, if there are any new things that happen in the TEFL industry, maybe new ways of delivering a lesson, and really be there as a support for our trainers at all of our destinations. And then me, I'm the director of operations, and I physically make sure that everything kind of runs smoothly within, well, especially here in SimRep, but also with our global team to make sure that everybody is aware of everything. We keep everything up to date and kind of just keeping the team together, and call me like the cheerleader of the team itself. Then additionally, we also have our sales and marketing team, Arne and Loreen. They are from South Africa, so some of you might know them already. We've got Janine de Wit, who is our in-house travel consultant. And then we have Chi, who is our general assistant and our school network manager, and he's based here in SimRep itself. So our team here in SimRep is quite a big team, and it is really great to kind of work with everybody that we have. Then we have our the other team members. We've got Matt, who is our franchise owner in Bali, and we'll introduce him just now. Then we have Tina. She is our head trainer here in SimRep. We've got Mitch, who's our franchise co-owner in Bangkok. And then we've got Guide, who is also our co-owner and franchise co-owner in Bangkok in Thailand. Matt, now it's you. You can carry on, and I will tick you through.
Thank you, buddy. Okay, thank you, guys. So yeah, as Willie says, my name is Matt. I am the franchise owner here in Bali. I've been here for a year, but like Willie said, we've been kicking off since May. It's super exciting. I love living in Bali, and I want to tell you all about why I do that. But just a little bit about myself. So I was originally a teacher back in the UK, a primary school teacher in the UK. I did that for 3 years. I used to travel 2 hours to work and 2 hours back in the rain and in the dark, and then decided that actually there's sunnier fields further away. So I scooted off to Australia and was teaching in Australia for a few years. And then I moved over to Thailand, which is actually where I met Kat and met what was the Samui TEFL team. I did a little bit of help for Kat at one point, did some phonics training to try and help a friend of mine out get some discount on a TEFL course. So that was how I was introduced to the TEFL world. And ever since that meeting, and ever since meeting Kat, it's sort of been something in the back of my mind, and I've always been curious about it and thought it'd be a really exciting way of living. So I continued working in Thailand for a little bit. Then I moved over to Moscow and carried on working in Moscow as a primary school teacher. And then that's when, that's when I took the plunge and began my TEFL journey. I also have a master's in education. I did that whilst I was studying abroad. When I was working abroad. I thought I'd try and do a part-time master's at the same time, which I did and completed. So overall, I've got over 10 years of teaching experience. And before that, I was a tennis coach. So I have a lot of coaching experience as well. So I'm quite adverse to training and teaching, and it's just a big part of my life. I've been traveling now for 8 years. I've been away from home for 8 years, which has its huge advantages, but it's disadvantages as well. I've not been home for a couple of years now. I'm really excited to go home for Christmas. I'm hopefully, I think you can hopefully agree, I'm quite a passionate and fun teacher. Silence. So that's just part of my sort of vibe.
You are,
yeah. So that's part of my vibe here in Bali. We try and have a really good time, and we put the learning on the same sort of pedestal as we put enjoyment, because I really feel like enjoying things boosts that learning element anyway. So let me tell you why Indonesia then. So Indonesia, I'm going to pretend I'm not looking at some notes here for some numbers, but Indonesia has 250 million people spread over 17,508 islands. And it's, well, teaching English has become one of the fastest growing industries in Indonesia. Okay, so it's a really exciting time to be part of this world here in Indonesia. In general, you can travel only a matter of hours or even minutes sometimes, and you can switch from volcanic landscape to lush beaches, to gorgeous rice fields, to cliffs, to everything that you can imagine under the sun. It's all here in Indonesia, and it's just absolutely a beautiful place to live. And there's thousands of years worth of history here as well. So it's a really cultural place to live. And you feel that everywhere you go, even in what you could call the sort of expat areas, you'll still see the traditional Balinese arches everywhere, and the style of buildings all are in keeping with the traditional sort of Balinese and Indonesian style. So it's a really historic and beautiful place to live in terms of that as well. Obviously, it's a very famous travel destination. It's possibly not as famous as other countries around Asia, but it's beginning to pack a real punch in its competition at the moment in Indonesia in general. It's diverse, and endless experiences really pack a punch as well. There's just a million things to do. If you find yourself bored in Indonesia, you simply can just look outside the window often and to do something different, or you'll always meet people that are doing interesting and different things. There's a million ways to live. What I mean by that is, depending on the sort of lifestyle you want, you can capture that here in Indonesia. There's just a lifestyle for everyone. If you want that, as Willie mentioned, if you want that surfer lifestyle, we're on the beach, you've got the crazy waves and all the surfer lifestyle. If you want the healthy lifestyle, you can go and live that healthy eating and healthy living sort of lifestyle. If you want the party lifestyle, there's the party lifestyle. If you're wanting the cultural lifestyle, there's everything that you could possibly imagine. Part of my travels around the world, I've always been trying to find that perfect place to live, because I have like a checklist of things that I enjoy doing, and I say, well, how many of these can I do in this location? And Bali seems to be the one that hits most of those for me personally, and for a lot of people that I know. It's a really nice blend of old and new, depending on where you are. There's, like I say, a lot of history, but there's a lot of new elements coming in as well. So you might be in a very cultural, historic area, and then you turn a corner and you can play tennis on a brand new tennis court under a brand new floodlit roof and everything. So there's just a really nice mix of this. And yes, sun, and a bit of rain. It's obviously, we've got lovely weather here, but we also have a little bit of rain. So the weather's a really good thing. I was actually talking about the weather in general in Indonesia to, I think, the gang yesterday. We were talking about how sometimes, you can live in these Asian countries and it'd be a little bit hot, but Bali just seems to, and Indonesia in general, just seems to hit that weather band perfectly. So why Bali then? So obviously Bali is a world famous island. You've got everything here in Bali. Like I say, we've got facilities that could capture everyone's imagination. But for me, location. Bali's the place to be in Indonesia. Obviously, it's the world famous location. Everybody comes here. It's a huge travel destination, but it's more than that. It's a really warm and a homely place to live and to make your job. There are excellent opportunities to find placements here in Bali as well as at the rest of Indonesia. But one thing that I really like about the course and delivering the course here is that we have a huge range of places that we take our students to for their placements. We have for their teacher practices during the course. We have traditional schools, we have orphanages, we can take them to new hotels, in new international schools, but blending those all together, we give a really solid package of experience. I've said it's a friendly and experienced team. I'm talking about myself and my team member Roger here. We are friendly and we are experienced. And I've said been there, done it. So the thing that I'm trying to sell about the Bali course as well is that I have been there. I know what these students are feeling, and I know what the steps that they need to take are, and I know what might be on their mind, and that sort of anxiety elements to the excitement. So it's helpful to have somebody with that experience, I feel. So it's a beautiful accommodation options. We've got some really fantastic places where the students can stay, minutes from the beach, literally minutes walking from the beach, but also around beautiful rice fields and around beautiful local schools, mixed in with some local restaurants and some new Western restaurants and things like that as well. And we've got a beautiful classroom here as well. It's a great digital scene. So let me talk about that a little bit. Canggu, particularly in Bali, has become a very digital nomadic sort of center of the universe. There's thousands of people working digitally online, and a lot of people teaching online. So we've had a lot of people that have come to me and said, "Oh, you're teaching TEFL. I'm a TEFL teacher. I did an online course, teaching online now. I'd love to come and get some experience." And we've actually managed to pull a few of those in and join the course. But on the other side of things, we have people that are coming and doing the course in Bali and they're never wanting to work in school. They want to work online and have that flexibility of working online. So that's obviously a great addition to why Bali as well. There's co-working rooms that you can go and book a little booth in for free. You pay for the month of the co-working room, and then you can book private booths to do your lessons in and things. It's really fantastic. And I'm just going to finish off why Bali with the cost of living versus the lifestyle. The salary and the wages might seem a little bit lower than certain countries in Asia, but also to sort of compensate that, the cost of living is substantially lower as well here in Bali. Things are very, very cheap, and by living on a modest sort of lifestyle, you can survive on $500-600 a month. I have friends of mine that teach online, and they literally earn $500 or $600 a month, and they live in a modest guest house and they live a modest life, but they're comfortable and they're happy and they have a really good lifestyle. So that's really interesting. And I think with those positions where you're earning more than that, you can live a very, very exciting lifestyle. What was I going to finish off with here? I've written small and big on the top of my laptop, and I can't remember why. Oh, small and big. So Bali might look like a small island on a map, but actually it's got a bit of a big feel. You depending on where you go, you can have that sort of small country, cozy feel, but then you go to Denpasar and you go to Kuta and you go to other areas and you have that sort of bigger, wider picture of life, and it all just sort of amplifies. So there's a really great mix of everything. So why Bali? I say why not?
Awesome. Matt, I just want to ask you a question in terms of the cost of living and the salaries. What are the average salary that a teacher would be earning in Bali or in Indonesia?
So it varies depending on what they want to do. If they were going to work in an international school, which would be we would call it the gold standard of placements, that would be you've looked out to get that placement. Is quite unique and a little bit rare to get those jobs, but they do come up and we do get the placements. You would get a salary of about 1,500 to 1,700. Coming down the scale, you would get maybe 1,200 to 1,400 for your normal position schools. And then if you were to work in a local school in this sort of rural areas, you'd be looking at around $1,000 a month. If you wanted to work online, you can be earning sort of around $22 to $25 an hour, depending on whether you've got a degree or things like that.
100%. Thanks, Matt. All right, Mitch, you're next.
Okay, so I'm Mitch. I'm one of the co-owners of the new Bangkok franchise. In a former life, before I started teaching abroad, I did a lot of leadership training, a lot of professional and personal development. So I've kind of got that like life coach background, which I definitely plan to implement into the class. I think getting your TEFL and being a teacher is about the entire experience, and improving yourself and being the best that you can be and getting the most out of the experience is a big part of it. Another reason I think that I can take really good care of the participants that are sent to us is because I moved to Thailand in 2016 and I've been here ever since. I got my own TEFL in Thailand, and I'll tell you a little bit about my journey in Thailand and how I can use it to relate to anybody that comes through our program. I did my TEFL here, and then I was sent to what I later found out was called the placement from hell. It was one of the most difficult, notoriously difficult placements. None of the 4 teachers that had been sent the years before us had finished out. It was in the middle of nowhere. We were the only foreigners in the town. Our agent ended up getting fired because she stole money from us, just like a crazy situation. And we loved it. We enjoyed every minute of it because that challenge, the culture shock, the whole thing, it helped us to grow and made us better as people and as teachers. From there, we moved to Bangkok, and I took a job at Wall Street English, which is one of the biggest private language centers in the country. I did that for a year, and then they put me in charge of some of their corporate accounts. So I actually went into universities, hospitals, and businesses around Bangkok and taught English in a variety of settings. From there, I did a pretty good job. And so they promoted me to the hiring manager of one of the largest language centers in the country. We had over 700 students, 6 foreign teachers, and 12 Thai staff. So, no matter what kind of situation our students are put into, whether they're teaching in rural Thailand or they want to go teach in business English in Bangkok, I've been there and I've done that personally. So I can anticipate some of the problems they could run into, some of the challenges they will run into, and kind of help coach them through it and help mitigate those things to make sure they have a better overall experience. My experience as hiring manager and as an employer of English teachers, I think also gives me a really good insight into what employers are looking for when we're helping our participants optimize their resumes, prepare for their job interviews, and actually get a job. You know, I was the guy that we're sending these resumes to at one point, so I know what they're looking for. And then finally, the last thing is I say, like, I'm a man of many hobbies. So I've kind of developed a network. I'm a LEED certified rock climber, advanced open water certified scuba diver, leave no trace certified hiker. So no matter what they want to do in Thailand, you know, if they want to go rock climbing but they've never been before, I know that Krabi's the best place to go because the limestone has really good holes. If they want to be a scuba diver, I know that Koh Tao is the place you want to get certified because it's one of the best dive sites in the world, and I know which dive shop to go to. So no matter what they want to do around Thailand, I know people, I've been there, I know what will optimize that experience and let them do that. And a huge reason that I've been able to develop that network is sitting right next to me. She's the local and my co-owner, Guy.
Hi everyone. So I'm Guy, a co-owner of Bangkok Brunch. So before I started this with Mitch, I had a pretty successful tourism business with several experiences such as nightlife tour, food tour, floating market tour, or temple tours. And those experiences that I had and connection that I've made, it allows me to be able to show our students to see and experience things that they cannot really find it themselves as a foreigner. And since I was born and raised here and also speaking the language, it helped me to get access to any news, give them firsthand experience like a local, and have a further reach for any immediate help. And it's also give me ability to engage and partner with many more Thai school directly, faster, smoother, and without any need for agencies.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool. And then why Thailand? If you pull out your phone right now and you Google top 10 places to teach abroad, I promise you that Thailand is going to be on every one of those lists. And there's a reason for that. You know, I came to Thailand for 6 months 5 years ago, or yeah, 5 years ago. And it's just a place that grabs hold of you and keeps you here. It has something for everyone. If you love the mountains, you go up north to Chiang Mai and it has some of the most breathtaking mountain landscapes on the planet. If you like the beaches, you go down south and has the best beaches on the planet. And some people want to live in a big city. Some people like New York or LA or London. And Bangkok is it blows my mind. I'm from a smaller city in the US. So people think that because I'm American, I'm used to development, but Bangkok is on a level I've never even seen. So no matter what you want, no matter what you're looking for in your travel abroad experience, Thailand has it, and has it in just a way that is on a different level than a lot of places around the world. Similar to Bali, it's got a very low cost of living compared to the quality of life. When I first started teaching here, I was making about $1,500, which is pretty standard. And then as you get more experience, you know, if you have a teaching degree, you can make $4,000 plus. And my expenses for the month are around $600. So no matter what you're making, you're going to have a little bit of cash left over to travel, to have fun, to do what you want. So it's just that cost of living versus the quality of life is phenomenal in Thailand. It's also a fantastic base for travel to other parts of the world. We don't want our participants to feel like they're locked down in their country. Bangkok is a closer 5-hour flight to more places than any other country on the planet. It's right in between the rest of Eastern Asia and Europe, Middle East, Africa, everything. You can reach it. And then finally, because there's so much tourism in Thailand, they're very welcoming of tourists. I mean, Thai people are, it's called the land of smiles for a reason. They're very, yeah, see, one right there. Very welcoming, very nice, very warm, and the culture is amazing. It's so cool. The food, the ceremonies, the traditions, the architecture, it's just a fascinating place. And because they're so friendly, it opens that culture up to the foreigners that come here. And then we'll go to why Bangkok. So why Bangkok? I think I'm a great person to speak about why Bangkok because I hate big cities. I hate them. Don't like them. I don't like New York. I don't like LA. I'm not a fan of cities. When I first came to Thailand, the reason they put me in the middle of nowhere is because I said anywhere but Bangkok. But since moving to Bangkok a few years ago, I have fallen in love with this city. First off, there is so much to do. Our center is across the street from a local school, which is right next to a Buddhist temple. So right in our little, within 5 steps of the center, you have a temple and a local school. It's a 2-minute walk to a Muay Thai gym. And along that 2-minute walk, there are about 12 Thai food shops set up along the street. So no matter where you go in Bangkok, there's something to do, there's something to see, and it's just, we incorporate that immersion into our course so that they're not just doing one trip on a weekend, they're doing a little bit almost every single day. We're gonna have a Muay Thai class, we're gonna do some Thai language lessons. Guide is a phenomenal cook, she's gonna do a Thai cooking class. So just, it allows us to give them an extremely immersive experience. The other thing is that because we have so many personal connections, I've been here in Bangkok for 4 years, Guide's been here all her life. We're able to give them experiences and perspectives that other people who haven't been here as long don't necessarily have access to. So in terms of where to go and what to do, how to get through the immigration office, all those kind of little logistics things, we have all of those set up and in place. And we call that the insider's scoop, that they have people on the inside who know the things that most tourists, most foreigners never have access to. And that just gives them a level of support, comfort, and security that you just can't get with other programs. And that's why Bangkok.
Awesome.
Thank you. Khap kun kap.
Hi everyone, I'm Tina. Some of you I have met when we did one of the virtual course pre-marketing sessions. Anyway, let me tell you a bit about my journey. I come from a family of teachers, but I never wanted to be a teacher. So I was in real estate and in advertising for almost 13 years. And then I reached a kind of crossroads in 2013 and I didn't know what to do. And I said, oh, maybe I should try being a teacher. And I said, I don't want to do a B.Ed now. I don't have 2 or 3 years to study. So I was introduced to Roseanne. And 3 days after chatting with Roseanne, I signed up for my TEFL course with Roseanne and Catherine, so which was Destination TEFL before it became Destination TEFL, was the MUI TEFL. And I did my course with them in 2013. And for me, it just changed everything. I lived in Thailand for a couple of years and then went back to India, continued to teach there. And about 2 years ago, Catherine asked me if I would join their team. And really for me, that was like the dream I'd been waiting for. And that's kind of why I am in Siem Reap now. So I've worked in schools in Thailand and in Bangalore in India. Most of my experience has been with middle schoolers, though I always wanted to work with the small ones. But I also taught adults. I think what's really one of the things that I've realized with the students who come here is a lot of people aren't sure whether they want to teach or not. And I think doing a TEFL gives you the option within 4 weeks to kind of dip your toes in a little. And some of us get hooked and may want to carry on with this journey. Some of us may do it for a year or a few months and can go back to our own lifestyles, do whatever we were doing before, or maybe start something new. And I think that's one of the things that I loved about doing the TEFL was the fact that it wasn't a 2 or 3 year commitment, and it wasn't something that you spent so much money on and you're not sure whether you like it or not. In my teaching experience, I've worked in inclusive classrooms. We work where you want to try and bring people in from diverse backgrounds, and whether it's children with different needs or whether it's adults from diverse backgrounds, give them a safe space to kind of be the best version of themselves that they can. And after doing this for a year and a half here now in Siem Reap, what I do try to do is get our students to collaborate, and our trainees, well, the ones who graduated, to kind of be the family for new students who come here. So when they leave our training center in Siem Reap, if they go to Phnom Penh or some other city, hopefully they'll have a few other Destination TEFL family members to kind of count on to show them the ropes as they get started in their new city. I have lived abroad and kind of know I've done what they are doing, and I think that gives me the sort of sensitivity to be their support. Now a little bit about Chi, our awesome guide. Chi, can you just come and wave to everyone, please? Chi is our guide from Cambodia, so he's my local brother.
Just wave. Just go down a little bit. There you go. Chi
is our guide. He was a tour guide, and then he joined our team last year in November. Yeah. And he basically had done a bachelor's degree in TEFL from a university here in Siem Reap, but also did a second TEFL certificate with us. And Chi, in addition to doing our Khmer classes with our trainees, so we give our trainees a few words to learn, and he teaches them. There's 2 lessons with them in Khmer to get them started. He also is our networker with the schools. So he has a wide network of people who he's in touch with across Cambodia. Schools in Phnom Penh, in the smaller towns, Sihanoukville, or even on the islands. And he basically gets the job placements for our trainees. So all our trainees then can count on Chi to find them jobs, to find them, well, at least the interviews, take them into the interview stage and then set them up for their jobs. Why Cambodia? It has recently been listed the #1 friendliest country in the world. And you just met Chi. Everyone's like that. Everyone smiles, they're happy, they're genuinely warm and welcoming. Fortunately, here we don't have that kind of I want to make money off you vibe. People genuinely are helpful. In the beginning, you would think like, oh, do they really want to help me? But I think apart from maybe tuk-tuk drivers where worldwide you'd be wary of, everyone here really does go out of their way to make things easier for you. The country shares the borders with Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. It is a hub for travel within this region. Most people would visit and be able to go to Laos, spend a few days there, spend a few days in Vietnam, of course, COVID willing. The cost of living across Cambodia is pretty cheap. If you're in Phnom Penh, you might spend a little bit more money, but you can live on, I know that there's people who live on like even $450 if they're living in some of the smaller towns. Like I said, people are really, really kind, so they will help you as far as they can, and people really go out of their way to make you feel at home. In terms of travel options within Cambodia, yes, you've got Thailand, which is known for all its islands and Matt just spoke to you about Bali and the 17,000 islands there, but we have islands too, and they're beautiful. They're less traveled too, so they're really stunning, virgin white sand beaches. Uh, Lots of options there as well. You have your snorkeling and dive spots. Uh, it is a beautiful country and it has lots to do in terms of travel.
I just want to quickly jump in there in terms of the low cost of living. We spoke about all the other salaries. Here in Cambodia, you could most probably look at if you're unqualified, obviously Cambodia being the only country in Southeast Asia where you can teach without a degree. So for a non-degree holder, you would most probably earn about from about $900 to about, I would say about $1,200. And then for a degree holder, anything from 1,000 going up to, I would say most probably the max that we've seen so far was about 1,800 for one of our students. But it obviously, if you're going to go into the more private schools and stuff, it will be much higher that we have.
And why Siem Reap? Siem Reap is this sweet, beautiful temple town. For me, it holds extra special memories because this is where I was proposed to back in 2014 on holiday. Most people come here on holiday in terms of being a destination. Angkor Wat drives a lot of traffic into Siem Reap. You've got, even though it's this major tourist destination, it is very, very cheap. So food, whether it's Western food or Cambodian food, of course, is much cheaper than if you're eating Western food every day, but you'll find it. So usually you eat Cambodian food. When you're looking for a treat, when you miss something from home, you have the options of all the Western food that you get wherever else in the world you work. The city is not very big, and wherever you go, you will find beautiful little temples. There's a lot of history here. It's very easy to get around. Nothing is more than about 3 kilometers away from you, and then you have really easy to use apps like Grab, Tuk Tuk, Fast App. Very easy, and you don't have to deal with the mean tuk tuk drivers in that case. We are 6 kilometers away from Angkor Wat, which is a UNESCO heritage site. Every Sunday, we go cycling around Angkor Wat. Where else in the world would you be able to be immersed in such rich historical landscape for free? So really, if you are a history buff or if you just enjoy being outdoors and you want a lot to do, Siem Reap is a place for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Roseanne.
All right. Vili, you did touch on this already earlier, so I'll just add in a couple of facts. As Vili mentioned, the basic TEFL, and we're often getting people for various reasons coming to do just that, quite often just a break. The TEFL placement within country. As soon as borders open up again, I'd like to definitely see more people taking advantage of the 2 countries, 1 program. I'll give a little example. Just before the pandemic, February, for our very first course in Siem Reap, I flew in from South Africa to Bangkok. It was a 40-minute flight from Bangkok to Siem Reap. It's really easier than flying from Samui to Bangkok or Bangkok to Samui. So it really is no extra cost really for your applicants to see 2 countries. So the minute borders reopen, this is something we'd definitely like to see happening more of. 2 different passport stamps. Everybody wants to collect stamps in their passport. It's a great way to see more than 1 location. And with really very little extra expense. When we cover culture on our courses, we cover Asian culture in general. So it will cover the whole of Southeast Asia because the culture within the region is quite similar. And Vili did mention the TEFL extension. From my side, I think for anyone who's an agent, it's much easier dealing with 1 person. So I will be your go-to person who you'll hand everybody over to when you have a sign up. I will answer all their questions and then hand them over to the relevant training center to take it from there. Having lived in Asia myself for 7 years in Thailand, I can answer all the questions about what life in Thailand is like. I've been over to Cambodia and can tell them how it differs from Thailand. I've spent a couple of months in Bali before as well, so can answer their questions about that. And of course, the actual idea of living abroad. I've done it before in Asia, and I'm doing it now here in Portugal. So I know the frustrations of dealing with visas and red tape. But you know, I always say to everybody, when you look back at that time abroad, it's not those problems you remember. It's all the good parts you remember. You know, and it just does. All those challenges just do make you stronger and make you appreciate your lovely new destination. So I can relate to anybody. I often deal with parents, and I'm sure you as agents do too, and can ease their minds about their little babies moving abroad. I've got a young daughter who's just started university abroad, so I can completely understand their concerns of moving to another country, and I'm happy to answer any of their questions and assure them that they are in good hands before they leave for the course and when they reach their destination at the training center, that our team will be taking good care of them. As far as the actual 4 programs are concerned, Billy has already covered all of that.
So yes, so I have been here for 7 or 8 years now, and it's been an amazing journey. I am still in touch with so many of my students from the first course that I did in 2013, of which Tina played a part. And I think seeing people's growth and their confidence build by coming abroad is spectacular, and it will really set them up for any type of situation that they find themselves in the future, whether it be a social situation or work situation, etc. So I'm very, very thrilled to be part of an exceptional team. I think we work really well together and complement each other. And for us, the most important thing is the student himself, the trainee who comes over, because we've all been through it. And we, as Roseanne mentioned and Tina mentioned, we've all, you know, overcome those hurdles and whatnot. We know what it's like. We can empathize with the trainees and share in their joy and their success as well.
Thank you. Thank you.